In this section, we're going to discuss methods that were designed to work with highly cardinal categorical variables and those variables that show infrequent categories. The shared methodology of these methods is that they group these infrequent categories into a new category. High cardinality, remember, that refers to those variables that have a high number of unique categories. So when a variable has a lot of different categorical values, then we say that it's a highly cardinal variable. Rare labels are those categories that are present only in a tiny fraction of the observations in the dataset. Highly cardinal variables tend to produce rare labels, but there can also be variables with low cardinality that have rare labels. And the consequences of having rare labels is that when we separate the dataset into a train and a test set, some categories will be exclusively on the train set and some will be exclusively on the test set. For those categories that are on the test set, the model did not see them when it was trained, and the categorical encoding methods also did not see these categories when they were deciding the mappings. That's why we talk about these categories as unseen categories. And the problem that they generate is that we do not know how to replace these categories with numbers, and even if we did, then the model did not see these numbers during training, so the output that they produce is questionable. For those categories that appear only on the train set, what may happen is that the model is learning a lot from these categories that will not be present in test sets or future data, so they risk the potential overfit of the model. We also saw in section 4, when we were talking about the variable characteristics, that when we have fewer observations per category and we evaluate, for example, the mean value of the target, the fraction of observations for that category is so low that it's very hard to be confident with the value for that category. So we don't really know if, for example, for this category here, this target value is accurate or is just overestimated, for example. So in short, we can't really rely on the information that we obtain when we have a very few observations for a particular category. So one strategy could be to group all the rare categories into one category, and then at least we have a collective representation of all those observations that we can rely or trust a bit more. Now on this slide, on the light of grouping infrequent categories into a new category, we have two encoding methodologies. One consists in just grouping those categories into a new category, and the other methodology that achieves exactly the same consists in encoding only the most frequent categories. So we will be creating dummy variables using one-hot encoding, but only for the categories that are more frequent in our dataset. So in this section, we will explain these methodologies a bit more, and then we will see how we can implement them with Pandas, Scikit-learn, and Feature Engine. And as always, there will be a video presentation, and then in the Jupyter Notebook, you will find different folders containing the implementations in Pandas, Feature Engine, and Scikit-learn. So with this, let's crack on with the methods.